Let's move to the next topic, the study design pyramid. If you understand this concept, you will have no problem while writing a systematic review or a traditional review. If you can identify, if you can recognize different kinds of papers, if you can identify and you can recognize different kinds of papers, you will be in a very strong position. So how do we recognize it? Everyone, if you have Google open in front of you, go to google.com, just go in the search bar and type study design pyramid, study design pyramid, and click enter. Once you enter it, then click on images on the top and go to the images, study design pyramid, study design pyramid. So this study design pyramid has 9 different kinds of study designs, as you can see. And if you understand these 9 kinds of studies, you will understand every kind of article. So when you collect a data, you will have no problem in identifying what kind of data you have collected. So you should know the differences. You must know the differences. If you don't know the difference, your concept will be weak and you will always struggle while writing papers. You must know, it should be on your fingertips, what kind of paper you have collected. So on the study design pyramid, there are 9 kinds of nine categories, right? So what is at the bottom? What is at the bottom? In vitro test tube research. In vitro test tube research. So what is an in vitro test tube research? In vitro test tube research, we either call it as in vitro research or we call it as test tube research, because vitro actually means test tube. Glass actually means glass. In Spanish, vidrio is glass, and in Latin, it's vitro. So in vitro, vidrio, vitro, all of this means actually glass. So all of you have seen people holding test tubes in the lab and they are doing some research. You have seen in the movies, you have seen on TV, you have seen on different TV shows, and you see, oh, what a scientist, he's doing something in the research lab with a test tube. Those usually are the in vitro test tube research studies, and they conduct experiments, they conduct studies, they observe or they do experiments and they are usually microbiology kind of research studies, bacteria, fungi, so microscopic organisms. All of those are test tube research. But why is it at the bottom? Why is it at the bottom? That's the question. On study design pyramid, why is it at the bottom? Remember, the studies at the bottom are considered as weak studies by the experts who developed this idea of study design pyramid. And the studies on the top are the strongest research evidence. As you move up the pyramid, the strength of evidence increases. As you move up the pyramid, the strength of evidence increases. That's why while discussing this, I want everyone to keep a picture of study design pyramid in front of you. And I'm bringing it for you here. Study design. Okay, study design pyramid. And look at this. This is study design pyramid. Pretty clear, right? So at the bottom is the in vitro test tube research. And as we move up the pyramid, the strength of evidence increases. As we move up the pyramid, the strength of evidence increases. So the studies at the bottom are weak evidence, but the studies on the top are the strongest evidence. And what is on the top? Systematic reviews and meta-analysis. Systematic reviews and meta-analysis. Systematic reviews and meta-analysis are the strongest research evidence, but in vitro test tube research are the weakest evidence. Now, why are they the weakest evidence? And why systematic reviews are the strongest evidence? Because of 2 reasons. Because of 2 reasons. Remember, the studies at the bottom are considered weak evidence because of 2 reasons: the chances of bias and less relevant to human treatment. Because of chances of bias, it can have more chances of bias and it is less relevant to human treatment. And as you move up the pyramid, the chances of bias decreases and the relevancy to the human treatment increases. That's why clinical trial is on number 2. You can see that. Clinical trial is on number 2. RCT, the green color, is on number 2. So RCT is on number 2. And by the way, this picture is by University of New Hampshire, sunny downstate. So I just want to acknowledge them that it's not my photo, it's not my picture, it's their picture. So this pyramid shows that as you move up the pyramid, the strength of evidence increases because the bias decreases and the relevancy to the human treatment increases. So you will see that in vitro test tube is at the bottom. But then when you move up, the next thing is animal research, then ideas, opinions, editorial, then come case reports and case series, then comes the observational studies. But observational studies are of 3 types: cross-sectional study, case control study, and cohort study. And then clinical trials. And then on top of clinical trials is the systematic reviews and meta-analysis.